Good afternoon, Year 3. So today's lesson 3 of our science, There's a Rumble in My Tummy. You've done a really good job so far. I love seeing your predictions that you uploaded to Purple Mash. I love to see the names that you were using on our bones, the Latin names, which is amazing. I know that some of you have started to do head, shoulders, knees and toes using the proper names of our bones. So cranium, clavicle, patella, phalanges. So today let's continue. We're now going to look at some of the skeletons in the animal world. We're going to recognise that there's different types of skeletons. We're going to do some really good science skills. We're going to do some sorting, which is really important. We're also going to do some predictions based on our observations. So now that you know what we're doing, let's get started. Okay, Year 3. So our first task is a predicting task. Now, you had an advantage when we did the human body because you could feel your bones. Perhaps you closed your eyes, perhaps you imagine what they look like and then you drew them. But this time we're going to up-level our prediction a little bit. You're going to apply what you've learned and then predict the dolphin. Now, some of you may have been lucky enough to see dolphins moving in real life. Perhaps you could base your prediction on this. But if you haven't, don't worry. Base your prediction on making a really good guess. Think about the human body, perhaps compare this to the dolphin, and then make your prediction on the skeletal structure of the dolphin. Now, I'll reveal the answer at the end, but I'm going to leave you waiting for a little while. So pause the video now, predict your skeleton, and then we'll have a look at your ideas at the end. Good luck, Year 3. I'm really looking forward to seeing your predictions, guys. Don't forget to upload them to the Purple Mash blog so that we can see what you've done. So, as I said, we're going to come back to that later in the lesson. But I really want to think about this next part. Do all animals have a skeleton inside their body? Well, that's what I want us to explore. So, in the PowerPoint, on the next slide, you'll see some pictures, just like these ones that I've got here. And we're going to do some sorting with these pictures. Now, you're going to need a pair of scissors for these, and I'm going to get you to cut out each of these pictures. So let's do that now. So now we've safely cut all our pictures out, we're now going to do some sorting with these. We're going to sort them into two groups. And the two groups are our two bits of key vocabulary for this. We've got vertebrates and invertebrates. Now, some of you might be thinking, how do I know that word? You might want to pause the video for a minute and just have a think, because you probably have heard these two key vocabulary words, but it might be tricky to recall where you've heard them. So pause the video and then come back. Okay, so now that you've had a moment to think about it, you probably remember that vertebrates are things that have a backbone. So humans are vertebrates, and invertebrates don't have a backbone, so without a backbone. Now, what I want you to do is what we call our initial thoughts. You're going to sort these pictures into whether you think they are vertebrates or invertebrates. So have a look at them carefully, have a predict, and place them down. Now, you might want to blue tack them for now because you're doing what's called an initial thought. This is sometimes called a bit of a gut instinct. What do you think? What are your first thoughts? We can always change our mind later when we learn a bit more, but do your initial thoughts, pop them onto each of the columns to which one you think is a vertebrate or an invertebrate. Pause the video, have a go, and we'll come back in a minute. Well done. So you've just completed a simple sorting task. We went with our initial thoughts or predictions. Perhaps you looked with your observations or your own knowledge, and you included those when you did your simple sorting activity. Well, now we're going to look at a definition to see if we're still happy with our predictions, because you can always modify them, so you can always change them. So let's look at this. Vertebrates are animals with a backbone. So animals such as birds, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, fish are all vertebrates as well. Or invertebrates, so animals without a backbone. These are insects, shell creatures like snails and shellfish, or soft body creatures like jellyfish, squid, slugs and worms. So have a little look at your pictures. Are you still happy with them? Now, often vertebrates have a hollow backbone and a cranium, like we do, a skull which protects the spinal cord. So have a look, have a think, and you can always modify any of your predictions or stick with them. Pause the video, have a look and have a think. This is also a really good place to open the hyperlink. Now we love a bit of GoNoodle, and this is a really good one which might give you some clues, might give you a little bit of advice if you want to do any modifications. So let's reveal the answers. How did you get on? We had the tarantula, was an invertebrate. You had the lion, it is a vertebrate. A slug, an invertebrate. A cat, a vertebrate. A peacock, a python is a vertebrate. A lobster is an invertebrate. The toad is the vertebrate. A snail is an invertebrate. A chameleon is a vertebrate. An octopus is an invertebrate. And a mackerel is a vertebrate. Were you right? You're doing a really good job, guys. Well done. Now, to further our learning a little bit more, we're going to watch a Dr. Bynots clip. I really like the Dr. Bynots clips. There's one about vertebrates and one about invertebrates. In the invertebrates, he does call sea jellies. We obviously call them jellyfish. But as soon as you see the pictures, you'll know exactly what he means. So I want you to have a little watch of those films. And while you're watching them, you might want to take some notes. You can include a little bit more classification information. Now, I know you're ready for this. We'll shortly be revealing the dolphin skeleton as well. Watch those two, see what you can find out. I'll see you back in a minute. So let's find out a little bit more about skeletons. Now we can do what's called further classification. You'll learn more about this word when you get to Ivan. But we know that we can group into vertebrates and invertebrates, like we did earlier. Well, we're now going to learn some more key vocabulary, and that's endoskeleton, exoskeleton, and hydrostatic skeleton. So an endoskeleton, this is where you have an internal skeleton structure. So it's a skeleton on the inside, and this provides support, it protects the internal organs. Just like when we did the lesson the other day, you know that your cranium protects your brain. Now, exoskeletons are a little bit different. They've got an outside or an external skeleton, and it tends to be a harder covering which protects the body of some animals. Now, many invertebrates, animals without backbones, have an exoskeleton. And our exoskeletons don't grow with the animal. So the soft body that's on the inside, it gets too big, and the exoskeleton will actually split, and it sheds it or it molts it, and a new exoskeleton's formed. Now, some of you with more exotic pets might know this already. Now, if you haven't seen it, there's an amazing scene on Planet Earth 2. You'll see lots of spider crabs, and they shed their shells. So they shed their exoskeleton, and then they form a new one. If you haven't seen it, try to catch it. I can't show you on here because of copyright. But if you do have the Planet Earth 2 videos, definitely try and watch it. And then we've got the hydrostatic skeleton. So endoskeletons. These are, as we said, animals with the endoskeletons have the skeleton on the inside of their bodies. So us. And as the animal grows, so does the skeleton. Just like if you think back to the first lesson we did, when we learned how many bones we have as a baby compared to how many bones we have as an adult. And then exoskeletons. So as we said, we've got the animals that have the skeleton on their outside. Exoskeletons do not grow with the animal. Therefore, the animal has to shed it, as we said, and then get a new one. So the soft parts are exposed for a little while until the new exoskeleton forms. And then we have the hydrostatic skeletons. So animals with a hydrostatic skeleton don't actually have any bones. They actually have the fluid-filled compartment. So if you think of like a watery compartment, and it actually moves that way. And they're all invertebrates. So you'll be ready, as I said, for Wyvern with all your science knowledge. Now, I know the part that you're really waiting for is the dolphin. The dolphin is coming. So get your predictions at the ready and compare it to what a dolphin skeleton actually looks like. So what did you predict about the dolphin? Did you think it was a vertebrate or an invertebrate? What do you think now? Are you still happy with your prediction, or have you modified it? You might want to put some jottings or some notes around your prediction, because you may have changed your mind since you've done it. It was a long time ago at the beginning of the lesson. So I'm about to reveal. If you want to pause the video and have another think, or have a check, or explain or write anything around your prediction, do that now. If not, are you ready? There you go. That's your dolphin. Is that what you expected? Is that what you imagined? If you have a careful look, you can see how the skeleton would protect some of the important organs, the internal organs. Have a look. You can pause it, you can look at this and compare it to yours. Try to look for some similarities, look for some differences. Why did you predict that? Why do you think it's the same? Why do you think it's different? Try it with your family. Maybe ask your parents or your brothers or sisters to have a go. See if they can predict what a dolphin would look like, and then reveal and see if they're surprised. I hope you really enjoyed today's lesson, guys. I look forward to bringing you some more science next week. Don't forget, in between, you can always go back and look at the videos, the hyperlinks from before. You can always go back to the first 2 lessons and look back at some of those videos again. You can always do some of your own research. Find out more about each of the animals that we looked at today. See if you can find some more examples of vertebrates or invertebrates. Find some examples of endoskeletons, exoskeletons, hydrostatic skeletons. You can also, if you've got a pet, like we said, a bit more of an exotic pet, you might even want to include some photos or a little bit of a write-up maybe onto your Purple Mash folder, and tell us more about what you know about the skeletons. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye for now.